But without further ado, please welcome a really good talk about Snap Games, HTML5, and social gaming. We all know how important is social. Please allow our speakers.
So hello and welcome everybody. My name is Gracia and I'm a strategic partnership manager at Snap. And with me today in this panel are three of the representatives of the partners that have already launched games with us. Lawrence, Ioana, and Maja. Welcome and pleasure to meet you finally in person. Like, it's really nice to see people in 3D after so many video calls. So I'm glad to be here with you today. Would you mind introducing yourselves, your company, and what you do?
Sure, maybe I'll start from the right to the left. I'm Lawrence. I'm founder and CEO of CoolGames. For those of you who don't know CoolGames, we are now an 11-year-old company. Only thing we're doing is HTML5 games. Started a long time ago with very simple web games for web gaming portals and moved to more big gaming platforms such as Snapchat, trying to build very nice multiplayer game experiences. And that's what we're here for today.
Hi, I'm Ioana. I'm a lead game designer for Mojiworks. Mojiworks have been set up about 5 years ago, and I've been working with them for about 4 years. What we do is, well, now we're focusing on Snap games, but we started off with just doing general web, like HTML5s, like CoolGames, and now we're focusing predominantly on Snapchat.
Hi, I'm Maja. I work at Funday factory as a data analyst for the past 3 years, and we're a game development studio based in Denmark. We've worked a lot with Snapchat. We've developed more or released more than 10 games on the platform, and still growing our team for Snapchat.
Great, thank you so much. So for the ones who don't know what Snap Games is, Snap Games are the HTML5 games that are offered by Snapchat to its more than 300 million users globally. Users don't need to download anything. It's all from our platform. Games are found organically through several entry points within the app. And it's all friend-by-friend communication. So all of the games have chat and voice integrated for a whole new level of interaction. And basically, this is what we call hypersocial, when we allow users to do their recommendations and to play games together because they are recommending it to their friends. So today, with the three partners, what we are going to share is their perspective from business, game design, and data analytics point of view. So we are going to have each of their experiences with their games, and let's get into it. We're going to start with a few open questions. So I would like to start with a broad one, and any of you can answer. What have you found more compelling or successful from your experience with Snap?
So I think maybe I'll kick off here. As I just mentioned, because we're doing now HTML5 games for 10 years on many different platforms, that the specific thing that we found on Snapchat is really a we platform. So people playing together. Most of our games you can also play solo or you can play them asynchronous, but we really found that the real time, either with friends or with random players that we match up, is by far the success formula. So this is a very active, young, Gen Z and millennial user base who really like to be engaged in a real time gameplay. And we see that much more than we have seen on other platforms so far. So I think there are a couple of other things, but that's the probably first thing I would like to take out. Clearly because it's a social platform, but we see that in the games.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think for us, the number one thing that I found the most interesting when we started developing for Snap is that it's like an entirely new world. So we're pioneering development on Snapchat because nothing is quite the same with like the old social games or like the mobile games. So it's you have more space to take risks and try new things, and because of this young generation of players, you also get to know what the upcoming things are going to be. And we like to say that even trends that we see now are going to probably happen bigger later somewhere else as well. So I like this foray into the unknown.
Definitely.
Yeah, I agree with both of you, and I think also like the social part is definitely something that we've found to be super interesting and new for us on the platform, like how it's the social first, not the solo playing first, and just learning about how players on Snapchat behave and how they perceive all this social environment there is on Snapchat, and also the fact that it's like the users come in organically is something different from us. We used to also work on standard or mobile with mobile games, and that's also a new way to think about building games. Like it's also a lot about players recommending games to their friends and utilizing this social environment.
Definitely. And even teaching them how to play your games. Like when you are talking to your friends, you already get a good recommendation from a friend that is telling you, hey, this is what you have to do and how we can enjoy this game together. Actually, related to what you were saying, my next question is one that is actually very recurring from other mobile gaming developers that are thinking about joining Snap. How do you approach building social HTML5 Snap games versus the traditional development for app stores? Is there any differences or anything that you would like to highlight on this aspect?
I think one thing that's very unique about Snapchat is that it already has all these tools and these features to incorporate the social things in the games. Like that's very much in the focus, and we've gotten to use all these different features, and the way that we develop games is very much centered around incorporating these tools and using them the best way, which is definitely different for us because on the mobile app stores it's mostly from our own side. Like here we have all these available tools that are ready for us to use or help to develop with. So that's a difference. And then also, as I mentioned, like the way that users find the games and share the games and connect with the games, I think is different.
Yeah, maybe to add one thing there, which I think is crucial, and especially for those of you who are maybe from mobile world and looking into HTML5 and looking into Snap games. In order to do this, it's actually very easy for game players. So basically, if I'm on Snapchat, I just click on the game and it starts immediately. I don't need to download it, I don't need to install it, I don't need to go through some installation process. But even better, for my friends it's the same thing. So if I invite my friend gets a notification, clicks on it, game starts immediately. No installation, no username to connect friends to each other. They're already there, just click and play basically. I don't know of any other platform where it's so seamless basically to play the game and also play the games with your friends. You know, only thing you need to do is be on Snapchat. That's it.
I think for us, especially when it comes to games design, we call them social first. So when we set up to make a new game, we don't actually think about the main mechanic at all, which I know is very out there. But we think about the social loop, and the social loop is the first thing that we ever do, and then we create the game loop around it. Because we know that we have to fit with people's lives rather than them fitting their lives around our game. That's fundamental for us.
That's great. In connection with what Lawrence just mentioned in regards to knowing that your friends are in the platform, another way of knowing it is by seeing their Bitmojis, right? Because you know how your friends look like, what are their features, and Bitmoji is the avatar that basically makes you recognize your friends within the app. So whenever you join the platform, you will create your Bitmoji with your own features that you will be able to customize whenever you want. So most of the games in Snap leverage the Bitmoji 3D as avatar. So I'm curious to know what's been your experience building with Bitmoji.
So I think we were actually the first third party to integrate 3D Bitmoji. And when we did that, we had a few ideas in mind. Basically, we wanted to say, oh, because it's instant, I can already see my friend, and it's a presence, and it's a connection thing. But for us, has definitely been an inclusivity thing as well. Because if we were trying to make our own character customization tool, we're a small studio. We would have never been able to make something so inclusive and considerate as the Bitmoji tool is, to do all of the things that allow our players to model themselves how they see themselves. So for us, it's a presence thing, but it's also an inclusivity and diversity thing.
Yeah, and I think next to that, it's basically it's the avatar, right? So also on other social platforms, you have your avatar, usually your photo or something like that. Here you have the Bitmoji as your avatar. But the good thing is not a fixed image. Basically, with giving code to the Bitmoji platform, you can make the avatar give a few hundred different emotions. So one of the things we did is in one of our games on Snapchat, which is Battleship, I can shoot on the other player. If I sink a ship of the other player, I can do something like, yeah, or got you, and then I can give my expression of my face like in a cheering mode. Or if I'm being defeated, I can make the expression of my face in a crying mode, or angry, or confused, or something like that. There are a few hundred different expressions that you can give. And if you just have a photo as an avatar, like on other social platforms, you will never be able to do that. But this is very dynamic, and it's giving just a little extra touch, I think, to the fun in the game.
Exactly, that's what it is. And also people love playing with their own selves, like Bitmojis. What we have noticed as the platform is that the engagement is much higher when games incorporate Bitmoji, because they feel more represented, as you were saying. Like diversity is also very important for Snap. Okay, so in line with what we were saying about other companies or mobile game developers thinking about joining the platform, what is the advice that you will give them, if there will be any piece of advice that you will give them before getting into conception and development of the game? What would that be?
I think for me, well, we've already mentioned this a bit, but I think it's not thinking about how can I take one of my games and making it on the Snapchat platform. It's more thinking about how can I use these social features on the Snapchat platform to make a great social experience for the Snapchat players, because that's really the key to success on the platform is the social experience. And for example, we've seen that players who play with their friends, they have 70% higher day one retention than players who play alone. And of course, it's also about getting players into the game and having a great experience also on their own, but then incentivizing them to invite their friends and share with their friends. So really use these tools that Snapchat have for integrating it into the social experience.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we discovered is that the younger generation loves being involved. So if I had anything to say is get to know that demographic and really speak to them and speak with them, because that's one of the things that really helped us when we were going through concepts and when we're thinking about this thing, is making something for them, and they really love being involved. So and there's so many ways in which you can talk to them. So my number one advice is listen to your audience, which you should do anyway, but this young audience is incredibly engaged and they love talking to you, so take advantage of that.
Yeah, maybe just, totally true. And maybe to add one thing is that, of course, people who are playing games on Snapchat, they also play games somewhere else, so they probably play other mobile games outside of Snapchat or on PlayStation or something like that. But those are different kind of games. So the games on Snapchat are really the social games. And we've said it now for the last 10 minutes many times, but that's what it's all about. It's the social part. So the game design really should start from the social part from the beginning. And then you can think about all sorts of other things that you would do in traditional game design, on your progression and on your ranking, all that kind of stuff. But if the social part is not good enough, the game will not work. And we launched 2 games on Snap. One didn't do so well, and the other one does extremely well. So it's not a guarantee that what you think up front will be very successful. And you need to do, and that's for all games, of course, also in mobile, but a lot of iterations. So once you go live, iteration, 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 and sometimes really small thing, especially again in involving friends and making them come back, is more important than I would say on any of the other platforms here. Yeah.
Great, thank you. I'm going to address each of you individually, but by all means, if you would like to participate on the answer, feel free. So, starting by Ioana, Mojiworks, Snap Games is an integral part of your business, and we are thrilled that we announced recently that you got to 100 million users, which is a huge milestone in both Ready Chef Go and Trio Party. So, how does make you feel and the Mojiworks team feel about it?
This is one of those things where like it doesn't feel real. So we keep on looking at the numbers, and for us they almost like became normal because we've seen them since we released Ready Chef Go at the end of 2019. Initially it was like such a big impact. It was so much better than like anything we could have imagined. But as time went by, I think everyone just kind of got a sense of that's how it is. And then you tell it to someone else and they just, how do you do that? I was like, it's the proof is in the pudding. I don't know. It's fantastic, and I have no words basically.
That's great. We touched it on the open questions at the beginning. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is a key pillar for both Snap Games and Mojiworks. So, how do Mojiworks align with this?
Yeah, so this is something very close to our hearts and to my heart specifically. So when we started with Mojiworks, the whole idea was that we know we were aiming for a diverse audience. So the only way that we thought it was fair to create games for this diverse audience is to be diverse ourselves. And actually we're one of those games company that have a higher male to female ratio than usual. And we care about that a lot. And the way that we build our games to be diverse is to make sure that if we don't have expertise in the company, we go out and get it. So I mentioned earlier that we use Bitmoji because it's this very well thought out, very well made character creator, and it was something that was way better than we could have done, and it gets constantly updated as well, so we don't have to worry about that. But another thing that we do is in our time management cooking game, Ready Chef Go, we try to incorporate cuisines from different places in the world. And we did this sometimes as an event with like different holidays happening. And when we do that, we usually collaborate with different sides of Snap to make sure that they fit into the cultural background of that area and that the people in that area feel represented. So we did, initially, the first one we did was this promotion in India. And we created the stage called Dosa Dash, and we worked with Snap India, and we polled people in India about what kind of food they would like to see in that, like a street market kind of stall. And we worked with them to make sure that the environment were correct and that all of the references and the music felt contemporary and not like a caricature. And we did the same thing when we did the Dias de los Muertos like Taco Town stage when we worked with Snap Mexico. So we try to, when we don't have the expertise, we try to go out and find it to make sure that everyone gets represented as they should be.
That's great. I also remember that Funday was part of that seasonal event for Color Together. I don't know if you got any data insights on what Ioana was describing.
Yeah, we also did, we have this color by number game with different content we're releasing for different holidays and seasons, and we did for Diwali in India, for example, and also for Dia de los Muertos, and also in collaboration and great insights from Snapchat on how to be inclusive in that. And we actually saw like really good improvements in both those regions with up to 50% improvements in engagement compared to the regular players, and also improvements in just the players were playing more and had better retention in those countries during the events. So it's been really successful.
Yeah, I think live ops is actually another key element of developing games with Snap Games, and also another opportunity for getting your game feature within the app. So sometimes we collaborate with marketing when we have seasonal events or regional events, and that's when our partners participate by uploading new content or updating their assets within the game. And yeah, what you were saying has been really successful so far. So we are glad that you are participating on this important milestone for us. So leading into Funday Factory, you have experienced tremendous growth since you started working with us. So far, you have launched more than 8 games with us. And you have been partnering with big publishers like Voodoo. So one of the questions that I've got is, can you share if you have found genres that fit better with Snap games? So are you building games for a specific audience, or how do you come up with the data that you will need to use for building your games?
Yeah, so now we've been through many games, and we've also released many different genres already on Snapchat. And I think what we've also learned is, even though we also think about Snapchat as this platform for millennials or young people, and it's actually broader than you would think. Like, there are also parents, and like there all different age groups are present on the platform. So there's actually opportunity for many different genres. So we are trying things out, and I think you also mentioned like learning about the players that are on Snapchat, and that's something that we are continually doing. And releasing games have taught us a lot about what these players would want, and there are opportunities for many different genres there. And of course, it's like a process of getting to know the players. We do also user tests, trying to talk to the players and get to know or learn about what they would like and what they're missing. And of course, it's also about the passion of the team. Like, we always want to develop games with people that are passionate. So if the team is not passionate about it, then it doesn't work. But it's been really good to see that we can find games or we can develop concepts that the team are really passionate about and that fit so well with the platform of Snapchat, like that has all these social features that we can use.
Definitely, and with the business growth comes the workforce growth. So I know that your team has also been grow hugely over the past years. So from 3 people to almost 50% of the workforce right now. So I don't know if you can also provide us with some insight on how the team has been growing.
Yeah, we started out just with a team of 4 working on the Snapchat HTML5 division, and now, as you say, we're 50% of the company working on that, and we've really seen the future with HTML games and really learned so much about how to develop great live multiplayer experiences that are really complex, how we can do that with HTML5 and Play Canvas. So it's been a really exciting journey for us to grow that much, and we've learned so much about that in the process.
That's awesome. So personally, what is one particular thing that you appreciate the most from our partnership, even from data analytics perspective? Is there anything that you would like to highlight in that sense?
I think one thing that we've been really, really happy about with the collaboration with you guys is that we've been able to work really closely with you in developing the tools that we actually use in our games. Like, really early in development, we've been using the tools, and we've been talking very closely with you about how we want to use these tools, what do we want to what do we expect, which features do we expect. So we've kind of been able to also collaborate on making the tools really great and to a place where we can really use them optimally, and also being able to collaborate so closely on the tech and also affecting the roadmap of where this goes has been really great for us. And also on the data analytics side, being able to, it's not very common that you can go and actually be a part of shaping the platform that you are going to use for analytics. So it's been great.
We really love bold developers, so if you are up for trying out new features and building what's next for a platform, you are the type of people that we are in the hunt for. Leading into Lawrence, CoolGames has been one of the leaders and pioneers in the HTML5 field, and having released a number of games in other H5 platforms, we are glad to have you here as an expert on the field. Your top title, you have already released a couple of titles in Snap Games, being the most successful one, Battleship, that leverage a really well-known IP from Hasbro, that is Battleship. What features do you think that have been key for the successful of Battleship in Snap?
Well, I think success can be defined in a couple of different ways, but let's start with people playing the game. I think that's the first and most important, probably, measurement of success. And we just learned from you that you, with Ready Chef Go, you had already 100 million users or something. So we had, for a Battleship game in the last 6 months alone, more than 40 million users. That's a lot, you know, that's significant numbers. But also, if you consider those 40 million users were reached without doing any UA. So again, this is not the App Store. This is a very different ecosystem. So we got up to 40 million users. But, well, of course, some help from Snapchat and being featured, and of course, very close cooperation, just like you just said. But without any UA, we reached these kind of numbers, and I think that's fantastic. And well, indeed, being in the HTML5 space for more than 10 years now, there are not many platforms where you can reach these kind of numbers in users. So I think that says most of it. Secondary, maybe to financially, you know, in the end, we also have a really big team on this. They also need to be paid. We're based in Amsterdam, which is not cheap. So we also need to make some money from the game. And what I really like from the Snap platform is that it's mostly based on advertising. Well, maybe some of you here in mobile think, oh, advertising only, and then compared to IAP, then it must be lower. Well, it depends on how you look at it. Again, indeed, without UA, but also the kind of advertisements that Snap is using is very different from either in mobile or any of the other HTML5 platforms. It's very short, quick, 6-second videos. Totally not intrusive, totally not irritating. And we found also that game players don't mind at all to see ads. And even if we started to increase the number of ads, we were expecting that game players would be going away, or that retention would go down, or that eCPM would go down. None of that happened. Actually, the players seem to be liking it, 6 seconds. But again, this is a unique format to Snapchat. I would love that other platforms also would have this ad format, because it works really well. And actually, you can have a proper business from that, just ads alone. Yeah.
That's great, and thank you for sharing that. Battleship also includes a bunch of asynchronous features, but also a very compelling ads reward system that is different from others. So can you tell us more about it, please?
Yeah, so I think, well, everybody knows Battleship, right? Because this is already more than a 50-year-old game. Most people have played it in the plastic format when traveling or with the parents, that you shoot like A1 and then you shoot bullets to the opponent. What we did basically is that we had, between every turn, we show a little rewarded video. You don't need to watch it. And if you do, then you have either extra shots or you have like bigger weapons. So instead of shooting one in one cell, you can do a whole air raid, for example, with 4 or 5 cells. And because the sessions are around 15 seconds for each player, and then the other player that's a perfect timing for having one ad in between. You're waiting anyway for 15 seconds, so it's not long enough to go away, but also it's not short enough that you cannot show an ad. And that works really well to have the ad implementation in this vice versa gameplay. And also something we learned by experiencing it. And in the previous game we did on Snapchat, we had a different ad system which worked less. And we found out that, okay, this works really well. Yeah.
Cool, learning from experience. You also mentioned that the game is working pretty well with Snapchatters, with our audience. Can you please elaborate on why it fits so well with the audience, with Gen Z and millennials?
Well, I think we can all answer, but from my perspective, I think it's very low barrier, so people can start playing it right away. I think the benefit we have as Battleship is that most people know the game already from some other platform or from the old plastic version, basically. So that helps a lot, so we don't need to take them through very long onboarding processes, but basically you start the game and immediately you come to the battle screen and you can start playing. And then the only thing you need to do is you choose, do I want to play against a friend or do I want to play against a random other Snapchatter, and then we match up behind the scenes. So it's very quick and easy to understand, and I think that's one of the reasons why it works really well. Also for Gen Z, maybe a little bit less patient, I should say. So not really long, deep, but just start right away, and that works.
Definitely. It's just another way of playing a classic game, and we are trying to recreate the living room experience, right, with Snap, so pretty on point with millennials and Gen Z. I don't know if there are any questions that we have not covered maybe in the panel that you would have liked to been questioned about, but...
I would like to actually add to what you were saying about why certain games work for Snap better than others. And actually, this was something that we had to discover by trial, pretty much. This short format, the kind of, imagine like a TikTok video, but in game format. And that's what you have to make in order for the audience to like it. So what we actually found is Ready Chef Go is basically like a competitive cooking game you play with your friends against another team. And for us as seasoned developers and thinking about it, we were like, if we put someone into a versus match immediately, they're going to get intimidated and they're going to leave. No, that's the exact opposite. So Snapchatters want action right away. They want it to be exciting. They want it to be so easy to understand that I can't make a mistake. And even if I'm not perfect at it to begin with, I'm going to get better at it, but I want to get straight into the action. So that's definitely something that we've seen. So even when we try to put them, we initially tried to stage a match and put them against the NPC and lull them into the game. No, the best way is to put them against the real opponent and see how they're doing. And that's the one that performed the best, by far, which was very surprising for us.
That's awesome. I would like to give the opportunity to the audience to ask any questions that you might have. So I don't know if anybody would like to participate. Great.
I will. Do you want to?
Yeah.
I have.
Is that right? Is it gone?
It's working. Yeah. So I wanted to add, you guys talked a lot about how important it is to be social first, how the social features are the key things. How do you engage with the community? Do you use the community to figure out what are the latest trends, what do they want to use, and how to better engage with them when creating games?
Yeah, actually, so we have a official Snapchat page for each of our games, and all of the fans of our games comes to our Snapchat page to like tell us how they feel about it, or like whether or not they like it. Sometimes they're like, play with me, I want to play with you. But through those channels, what we found is that we get access to our audience. And because they are so involved, which is what I was mentioning earlier, it's very easy to then use that to create your next games. Yeah, definitely.
And maybe to add one thing to that is that also we get a lot of help here from Snapchat. So they gave us a lot of user feedback because they do first line user contacting. And for example, when we launched Battleship in the first release, I mean, we made I think probably 50 iterations since then, but the first release, we matched up random players, which is the most popular, one of the most popular modes, because you can always do it, even if your friends are not there. But we matched up first-time players also with players who already were level 20, and we unlocked a lot of special weapons. And immediately a lot of the feedback was, hey, this is unfair, I come in and I'm immediately bombarded by someone who has much bigger guns than I have. And that was all the feedback coming from Snap, so immediately we needed to change that. So the next update, we grouped it into experience levels. But I think the user feedback from Snap is very helpful here. And also what I have to say is that, you know, if you guys are from mobile now and you would ever go to Snapchat, you know, forget about also your mobile KPIs, really focus on, you know, Snap KPIs. And then what was very helpful here from Snap is comparing apples to apples. So we looked at our dashboard and we looked at all the KPIs. But of course, they're Snap related, and they're not like App Store related, or they're not Steam related. They're Snap related, and Snap also really helped us there to compare to other games on average, how that worked out, and how we could improve that for the user base, how they've seen that in other games. So, but again, that's the direct relationship that also you guys talked about before. So indirect feedback through Snap from the user base.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think also, actually, I think we've experienced that the players really want all the social features that we can incorporate. Like, we've been doing different things, like we've been doing live multiplayer, really trying to improve that experience so players can join at different times while playing, but definitely like improving that experience, but also adding async opportunities so you can send things, and just everything, like sharing all the opportunities you have to share things with your friends. It's just been really well received, so yeah.
Wonderful. Who's a question there? She's getting to you.
Is it on? Can you hear me? Yes. Is it on? Try it. Just try it now.
Hello, all right, hi. Where do Snap tokens fit into this? I mean, when it comes to designing, you know, how lucrative can this be? Because tokens clearly are going to play a huge role, or not, I'm not sure. And then, are there whales? Are there Snap game whales that you're going to try and capture with the tokens? Are they just young whales with credit cards, or how does it work?
Thank you.
So the thing is, IIP tends to be pretty similar to how it is outside, but we tend to focus on ads right now, just because we know that everyone has the time to watch an ad, and I'm sure there are young whales, as you call them, because of course they are. Every time we attempted something like this, it's gone well. It's just we're putting our foot in the water slowly, because we can afford it, because the ads are so good, to be honest with you. So, but yeah, I don't think the in-app purchase is much different from other platforms, in the sense of people would pay for shiny custom things.
Yeah, and I think one thing to add there is that the tokens are only available for Android users, because only Google allows this, and Apple unfortunately doesn't allow it. Like, they don't allow many things sometimes. So for Apple users, it's ads only, and for Android users, you can have the combination of tokens and ads. But also, I mean, I can confirm is that we mostly focus on the ad and have a very good ad flow and integrate that in the game design. And secondary, yes, also on tokens now more and more, but I think I will not give any numbers here, but in terms of priority, ads have the priority at the moment, by far.
Thank you.
Please. It's just because it's also digital, so they can listen to you.
I have a very straightforward question, which is, why would you choose to publish a game on Snap versus other platforms?
I mean, the first one is visibility, right? Something that we like to say is that the game is the ad. So you see the game and it tells you everything about the game, and you go in and you're already there. There's like so little friction into the game. You're already a Snapchat user, and then you have some time to spare, and you don't have to convince anyone that, like, oh, you have to download this, and then you have to wait 30 seconds, and then if your connection is bad, like, it's just so instant and so much there. But also, just as I said, there's a lot of space to try new things, and I think that's one of the most exciting bits about it, is you have the opportunity to make something exciting and new, and it's frictionless, so it's great.
Yeah.
Maybe sorry, you go first.
Yeah, I really agree with like what I think is really interesting about, or there is a lot of things. It is really interesting to make games with Snapchat, because it is this, like, you can be really innovative and you can create really unique experiences because you have this platform that has this social environment, and I think to me, it's just really exciting to learn about these players. Like, we've worked in the mobile market and we've learned about that, but this is really like, you can create some new shared experiences, and it's really exciting to try.
Well, maybe then for me to finalize on this, also from the business perspective, and something I mentioned before, why Snapchat? And again, we also had our failures and also some things that didn't work, like probably everybody here in the audience had failures, and that's part of the game business. But we also had some success. And if you see now that we in like 6-month period can reach more than 40 million people, I mean, that's 3 times the size of the Netherlands, basically, where we are based. That's pretty significant. And that's, I think, is a really good reason to be on Snapchat. It's a big audience.
Thank you so much. I would like to wrap up by saying the team is going to be here, so Edgar, Carlos, and myself are going to be around. If you have any questions, by all means, reach out to us, and we will be happy to talk to you. And thank you so much to our partners for being with me today. I really appreciate your partnership and working with you on a daily basis. So thank you for coming, and all the best.